Vincent van Gogh. Vincent van Gogh, a name that resonates through the annals of art history, remains one of the most profoundly influential and yet tragically misunderstood figures in the world of painting. His life was a tumultuous symphony of brilliant creativity, intense emotional sensitivity, and a descent into the depths of mental anguish. Born in Groot Zundert, Netherlands, in 1853, Vincent was the son of a Protestant pastor, a somber and thoughtful child who carried a sense of gravity from his earliest days. Before he ever picked up a brush with serious intent, he wandered through life, trying his hand as an art dealer, a teacher, and even a lay preacher in a poor mining community. These early experiences with the harsh realities of life for the working class would deeply inform his artistic vision, instilling in him a profound empathy for the downtrodden. It was not until the age of 27 that he fully dedicated himself to art, a late bloomer who would compress a lifetime of artistic evolution into a single, explosive decade. His early works, like the iconic The Potato Eaters, are characterized by their somber, earthy palettes and their raw, unflinching depiction of peasant life. These paintings were not meant to be pretty, they were meant to be real, to capture the very soul of the people he painted. A move to Paris marked a pivotal turning point in his career, as he was exposed to the revolutionary ideas of the Impressionists and Neo-Impressionists. Suddenly, his canvases erupted with color. His brushwork became more fragmented and energetic, and he began to experiment with the scientific color theories of the time. But it was in the sun-drenched landscapes of Arles, in the south of France, that Van Gogh's art reached its zenith of emotional intensity. Here, under the brilliant Mediterranean sun, he painted with a feverish passion, often squeezing paint directly from the tube onto the canvas. His Sunflowers series, a symphony of yellows, is a testament to his ability to find beauty and joy in the simplest of things, even as his inner world was beginning to fracture. The vibrant, almost hallucinatory colors of the night cafe create a sense of unease and psychological tension, a place where one could ruin oneself, go mad, or commit a crime. This period of intense creativity was also marked by the infamous incident with Paul Gauguin, a fellow artist with whom Van Gogh had a volatile and ultimately destructive friendship. In a fit of despair and madness, Vincent mutilated his own ear, a desperate cry for help from a mind in turmoil. This act of self-harm led to his hospitalization and his voluntary commitment to the asylum at Saint-Rémy-de-Provence. Yet, even within the confines of the asylum, his artistic spirit could not be contained. He painted the world as he saw it from his window, transforming the familiar landscapes into swirling, cosmic visions. The Starry Night, perhaps his most famous work, is a breathtaking masterpiece of imagination and emotion, a universe of swirling stars and a cypress tree reaching for the heavens like a dark flame. The painting is not a realistic depiction of the night sky, but rather a window into Van Gogh's soul, a place of both awe and terror. His brushstrokes, thick and impasto, became a language in themselves, conveying a sense of movement, energy, and raw feeling that was unprecedented in the history of art. He saw color not just as a tool for representation, but as a way to express the deepest human emotions, to make the invisible visible. The exact nature of his mental illness remains a subject of debate among historians and medical professionals, with theories ranging from bipolar disorder and epilepsy to schizophrenia and borderline personality disorder. He was plagued by debilitating episodes of depression, anxiety, and psychosis, which often left him unable to work for weeks at a time. Yet, in the periods of lucidity and manic energy that followed, he would paint with a ferocious intensity, as if trying to outrun the demons that pursued him. His correspondence with his beloved brother, Theo, provides an intimate and heartbreaking account of his struggles, his hopes, and his unwavering dedication to his art. Theo was his confidant, his patron, and his emotional anchor, the one person who truly believed in his genius, even when the rest of the world saw only madness. In the final months of his life, under the care of Dr. Cachet in Auvers-sur-Oise, Van Gogh produced a staggering number of paintings. A final, desperate burst of creativity. His wheat field with crows is often seen as a premonition of his own death. A vast, turbulent landscape under a threatening sky, a path that leads to nowhere. On July 27, 1890, at the age of 37, Vincent van Gogh shot himself in the chest, succumbing to his injuries 2 days later. He died in poverty and obscurity, having sold only one painting during his lifetime. It was only after his death that the world began to recognize the true magnitude of his genius. His paintings now among the most famous and expensive in the world. Vincent van Gogh's legacy is not just in his art, but in his life story, a powerful and enduring testament to the complex and often painful relationship between creativity and madness. He taught us that art is not just about capturing the world as it is, but about expressing the world as it is felt, in all its beauty and its terror. His paintings are a raw, unfiltered glimpse into the heart of a man who felt everything too deep, who saw the world with an intensity that few of us can imagine. And in his madness, he found a new way of seeing, a new language of art that would change the course of painting forever. He remains a symbol of the suffering artist, the misunderstood genius, a painter of emotion and madness, whose light continues to shine brightly long after his tragic death. The raw emotion in his brushstrokes is palpable, each stroke a testament to his inner turmoil and his ecstatic connection to the world. His self-portraits are a particularly poignant record of his psychological journey, his gaze often piercing and unflinchingly honest. He painted himself with a brutal honesty, never shying away from the lines of worry on his brow or the sadness in his eyes. The cypress trees in his paintings are often seen as symbols of death and resurrection, their dark, flame-like forms reaching from the earth to the heavens. His love for nature was a constant source of solace and inspiration, a refuge from the storms that raged within him. He saw the divine in the natural world, in the simple beauty of a flower or the majestic sweep of a starry night. The story of Van Gogh is a reminder that true genius often walks a fine line between brilliance and madness. His art is a testament to the power of the human spirit to create beauty, even in the darkest of times. He was a man who lived and breathed his art, who poured his very soul onto the canvas, leaving behind a legacy that is as powerful and as moving today as it was a century ago. His influence on modern art is immeasurable, his work paving the way for Fauvism, Expressionism, and countless other movements. He dared to paint not just what he saw, but what he felt, and in doing so, he gave us a new way of seeing the world. And so, Dieuze, the painter of emotion and madness, lives on, his voice echoing through the ages, a vibrant and enduring testament to the power of art to transcend suffering and to touch the very heart of our shared humanity. The intensity of his vision was matched only by the fragility of his mind, a delicate balance that produced some of the most emotionally charged art in history. His use of yellow, a color he associated with warmth, friendship, and hope, is particularly noteworthy, a beacon of light in a life often shrouded in darkness. The Yellow House in Arles, where he hoped to establish an artist's colony, was a symbol of this hope, a dream that would ultimately be shattered. His relationship with his brother Theo was the one constant in his life, a lifeline of financial and emotional support that allowed him to continue his work against all odds. The letters they exchanged are a literary treasure, a moving and insightful look into the mind of a genius at work. Van Gogh's madness was not a separate entity from his art. It was inextricably intertwined with it, each feeding the other in a cycle of creation and destruction. He painted the world not as it was, but as he experienced it, a world pulsating with energy, life, and a deep spiritual significance. He saw the extraordinary in the ordinary, the sacred in the profane, the universe in a single blade of grass. The tragedy of Van Gogh's life is that he was never able to find the peace and acceptance he so desperately craved, either in the world or within himself. Yet, through his art, he has given that peace and acceptance to millions. His paintings a source of comfort, inspiration, and profound human connection. He was a shooting star that burned too brightly, too quickly, leaving behind a trail of celestial light that will never fade. His story is a cautionary tale about the price of genius, but it is also a story of hope, resilience, and the enduring power of the human spirit. Vincent van Gogh, the painter of emotion and madness, remains a beacon for all who feel too much. And dare to share their unique vision with the world. The swirling chaos of his skies often mirrored the tempestuous state of his own mind, a visual representation of his inner storms. His choice of subjects, from the humble peasant to the radiant sunflower, reveals a deep and abiding love for the simple, unadorned beauty of the world. He was a man of profound contradictions, a recluse who craved connection, a man of faith who battled with doubt, a gentle soul capable of great violence. The asylum garden at Saint-Remy became his sanctuary, a place where he could find a measure of peace and continue his work amidst the chaos of his illness. His paintings from this period are often characterized by a sense of claustrophobia, with the landscape pressing in on the viewer, the horizon line often high and unsettling. The olive trees he painted are gnarled and twisted, as if writhing in agony, their forms echoing the artist's own suffering. He saw in them a symbol of endurance and the struggle for life, a reflection of his own battle to survive. His final paintings, created in Over-sur-Oise, are marked by a sense of urgency and a renewed, almost frantic energy. Van Gogh saw in Dr. Gemovie a kindred spirit, another soul touched by sadness and a love for art. The vast, open fields around Auvers provided him with a final, expansive canvas for his emotions, a place of both freedom and despair. His death, like his life, was a tragic and solitary affair, a final, desperate act of a man who could no longer bear the weight of his own mind. But the story does not end there, for in death he found the immortality that eluded him in life. His art, once dismissed as the ramblings of a madman, is now celebrated as the work of a visionary who saw the world in a way that no one had before. He has become a cultural icon, his image and his art reproduced on everything from coffee mugs to t-shirts, a testament to his enduring appeal. But beyond the commercialism, his work retains its power to move, to inspire, and to challenge our perceptions of art and reality. To look at a Van Gogh painting is to look into the heart of a man who was both blessed and cursed with an extraordinary sensitivity. He was a painter of light and shadow, of joy and sorrow, of the sublime and the terrible, a painter of the human condition in all its messy, beautiful complexity. And his star, once a faint and distant glimmer, now shines as one of the brightest in the constellation of great artists, a timeless and universal beacon of creativity and passion. The thick application of paint, known as impasto, was not just a stylistic choice, but a physical manifestation of his emotional state, a way of sculpting his feelings onto the canvas. His fascination with Japanese art, particularly ukiyo-e prints, is evident in his bold outlines, flattened perspectives, and unconventional compositions. He sought to create an art that was accessible to all, an art that could speak directly to the hearts of ordinary people, not just the educated elite. The recurring motif of the sawa, striding across a field at sunrise or sunset, represents the artist's own role as a disseminator of ideas and beauty. His belief in the spiritual power of color was profound. He once wrote, "Color in a picture, in order to be expressive, must be a thing in itself." Yeah. The empty chair, a subject he painted more than once, is a poignant symbol of absence and loss, a tribute to the friends and fellow artists he admired and missed. His struggle with mental illness was not a source of his genius, but rather a terrible obstacle that he had to overcome in order to create. The vibrant, almost violent energy of his late works can be seen as a final, desperate attempt to hold on to life, to capture its beauty and intensity before it slipped away. He was a man out of time, a visionary whose work was too radical, too personal, too emotionally raw for the conservative tastes of his era. Today, his paintings are not just works of art. They are relics of a life lived with an almost unbearable intensity, a life dedicated to the pursuit of a singular, uncompromising vision. The world may have broken him, but it could not extinguish the fire of his creativity, a fire that continues to warm and illuminate the world long after he is gone. His journey was one of solitude, a lonely path that he walked with courage and an unwavering belief in the redemptive power of art. He painted the stars as no one had ever painted them before, not as cold, distant points of light, but as living, breathing entities swirling with cosmic energy. His flowers are not just pretty decorations. They are symbols of the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Their fleeting beauty a poignant reminder of our own mortality. He found a strange and haunting beauty in the gnarled and twisted forms of nature, in the things that were imperfect, weathered, and scarred by time. His art is a dialogue between his inner world and the outer world, a constant negotiation between what he saw and what he felt. The legacy of Vincent van Gogh is a powerful reminder that the most profound art often comes from the deepest suffering, that our wounds can become a source of our greatest strength. He was a painter, a poet, a philosopher, and a prophet. A man who saw the world not with his eyes, but with his soul. And his light, once a solitary flame in the darkness, has become a sun, illuminating the path for generations of artists to come. The emotional honesty of his work is what makes it so timeless, so universally resonant, so deeply human. He did not just paint landscapes. He painted the feeling of being in a landscape, the wind on your skin, the sun on your face, the earth beneath your feet. His portraits are not just likenesses, they are encounters, intimate and revealing conversations with the soul of the sitter. The asylum at Saint-Remy was both a prison and a refuge, a place of confinement that paradoxically offered him a new kind of creative freedom. He painted with a desperate urgency, as if he knew his time was short, as if he had a universe of beauty to capture before the darkness closed in. His art is a rebellion against the cold, detached objectivity of his time, a passionate argument for the importance of subjective experience. He was a pioneer of modern art, a bridge between the 19th and 20th centuries, a man who broke all the rules in order to create his own. The story of his life is a heartbreaking tragedy, but the story of his art is a triumphant victory of the human spirit. He gave the world his heart, his soul, and his sanity, and in return, he received only indifference and ridicule. But his gift, once rejected, has become one of humanity's most treasured possessions, a source of endless wonder and inspiration. Vincent van Gogh, the painter of emotion and madness, is not just a historical figure. He is a living presence, his spirit alive in every brushstroke, his voice echoing in every vibrant color. His quest for a high yellow note was a metaphor for his search for spiritual enlightenment and pure joy. The stark poverty he witnessed in the Borinage mining district left an indelible mark on his soul, shaping his commitment to depicting the lives of the poor and marginalized. He often signed his paintings simply Vincent, a gesture of humility and a desire for direct, personal connection with the viewer. His dream of a studio of the South, a community of artists living and working together in harmony, was a beautiful but ultimately naive vision. The clash of his and Gauguin's personalities was a clash of artistic philosophies. Van Gogh's emotional expressionism versus Gauguin's intellectual symbolism. His recovery in the hospital after the ear incident was slow and painful, punctuated by terrifying hallucinations and periods of profound depression. He saw his illness as a part of him, a malady of the country that he had to learn to live with, even as it threatened to consume him. The rhythm and energy of his brushstrokes create a sense of a world in constant, vibrant motion, a world alive with an unseen force. He was a master of the self-portrait, using his own face as a canvas to explore the depths of his own psyche. His final words, "The sadness will last forever," are a heartbreaking summary of a life lived in the shadow of a great and enduring sorrow. Yet, his art is a defiant shout of joy in the face of that sadness, a testament to the indomitable power of beauty to transcend even the deepest despair. He was a pilgrim in search of light, both literally and metaphorically, a quest that took him from the grey skies of Holland to the radiant sun of Provence. The Potato Eaters, with its raw, almost brutal honesty, was his first great masterpiece, a painting that declared his allegiance to the truth, however ugly it might be. His move to Paris was like a dam breaking, releasing a flood of color and light that would forever change the course of his art. He painted with his nerves, his heart, and his soul, his body and mind often paying a terrible price for his creative ecstasy. His cypress trees are like green obelisks, connecting the earthly realm with the spiritual, their dark forms a stark and powerful presence in the landscape art. The wheat fields he painted were a symbol of life's bounty and the eternal cycle of sowing and reaping, a source of both comfort and anxiety. His final painting, Tree Roots, is a strangely abstract and modern work, a close-up of the tangled, subterranean world that lies beneath our feet, a fitting and enigmatic end to his artistic journey.